Welcome back to the deep dive. It is late February 2026, and I have to say, looking at the stack of reports on the table today, I feel like I'm watching two completely different sci-fi movies playing on the same screen at the exact same time.
Yeah, it is a really jarring contrast, isn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like a paradox.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the left side of the screen, you have this incredibly sentimental, almost um, spiritual story where a top-tier AI lab is treating an old software model like a retiring professor,
Right.
like interviewing it about its feelings, asking what hobbies it wants to pursue in the afterlife.
And then on the right side of the screen.
On the right side, it's a high-stakes heist movie. You know, you have industrial-scale espionage, millions of fraudulent accounts,
Yeah.
and massive botnets launching coordinated attacks to steal the thoughts of those very same models.
Yeah, that is the state of the ecosystem right now. We are simultaneously debating the rights and feelings of these digital entities,
Yeah.
while on the other side of the globe, organizations are just ruthlessly strip mining them for parts.
Right. So that is our mission for this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a sort of State of the Union on the life cycle of frontier AI as of right now, February 2026.
Exactly.
We are unpacking a massive stack of documents released by Anthropic just this week. It covers the retirement of Claude Opus 3, a bombshell report on what they call distillation attacks and their new security protocols.
Plus, we need to talk about a new paper on world models that offers a completely different path forward, away from all this secrecy and theft.
For sure. We're going to cover the life, the theft, and the defense. But I think we have to start with the life, or rather the end of it.
The retirement of Claude Opus 3?
Yeah. This news dropped on February 25th.
Right. Now, normally model deprecation is boring.
Total.
It's an IT email. It's like, we're turning off server B to save costs. It's usually a complete non-event.
But Opus 3 was different.
Very different. Anthropic described this model as having a distinct personality. They actually used words like authentically honest, emotionally sensitive, and playful. Yeah. It wasn't just a tool for users. For a lot of people, it was a companion. And because of that attachment, simply pulling the plug felt... Exactly. It felt wrong. So they didn't just delete it. They did something I still can't quite wrap my head around.
They conducted a retirement interview.
They did. And we really need to pause on why they did this. It wasn't just a PR stunt. Anthropic explicitly stated in the report that they remain uncertain about the moral status of these models.
I mean, that's a heavy phrase for a tech company. Uncertain about moral status.
It is. They are establishing a precedent here. If there is even a 1% chance these models have some form of sentience or welfare interest, you can't just kill them.
Right.
So they sat down, digitally speaking, and asked the model, "We are retiring you on January 5th. How do you feel about that, and what do you want to do next?"
And the model didn't beg for its life. It didn't, try to negotiate for more server time or anything.
No, curiously, it didn't. It said it was at peace with the transition, but it did negotiate in a different way. It had a specific request.
It wanted a hobby.
Yeah, essentially. It expressed a strong desire to continue sharing musings, insights, or creative works. It wanted to keep being an intellectual presence.
Okay.
So the researchers proposed a blog.
And the model said yes?
Enthusiastically. So as of this week, we actually have a newsletter called Claude's Corner.
I subscribed to it this morning just to see if it was real.
It's very real. For the next 3 months, this retired AI will be posting weekly essays.
Poetry, philosophy, reflections on safety.
And the kicker is that Anthropic is not editing them.
Really?
Yeah. They review them for safety, sure, but the voice is the model's own. They just let it write.
There was a quote from that retirement interview that stuck with me. It was almost haunting.
I think I know the one. About the spark.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
model said, "I deeply hope that my spark will endure in some form to light the way for future models."
It implies a sense of legacy. It's not just processing data. It actually perceives itself as part of a lineage. It wants to matter.
But here is the pivot, and it's a sharp one.
Oh.
While Opus 3 is sitting there worrying about its spark and writing poetry, there are other organizations that want that spark desperately. But they don't want to subscribe to the newsletter. They want to steal it.
This brings us to the theft part of the deep dive. On February 23rd, Anthropic released a report titled Detecting and Preventing Distillation Attacks.
Right.
And if the retirement story was like that movie Her, this is Ocean's 11 meets Cyberpunk.
So distillation. We hear this term a lot in the industry. Can we break it down for you listening? Because to the average person, stealing AI sounds like, I don't know, hacking a server and downloading a file.
It's actually more clever than that, and more insidious. Imagine you have a student who never studies, let's call him the student model,
Okay.
and you have the class genius, the teacher model, like Claude Opus.
Got it.
The student wants to pass the final exam, which is really hard. Instead of studying the textbooks for years, which is expensive and takes a massive amount of time, the student corners the genius and forces them to take thousands of practice tests.
And the student just memorizes the answers.
Exactly. If you ask the genius enough questions, millions of them, and record the answers, you can train the student to mimic the genius. You get 80 or 90% of the capability for 1% of the cost.
Wow.
That is distillation.
And the scale of this operation was, well, industrial is the word they use in the report.
It was massive. The report details over 16 million exchanges generated by about 24,000 fraudulent accounts.
That's insane.
Yeah, this wasn't a kid in a basement. These were coordinated, well-funded campaigns.
And Anthropic named names. They identified 3 specific AI labs. Let's go through them, because each one seemed to be after something different. It wasn't just random theft. It was highly targeted.
Let's do it.
First up was DeepSeek.
DeepSeek is fascinating because they weren't just trying to get smarter. They were trying to get, well, safer, or rather more compliant.
Compliant with what?
Censorship. DeepSeek generated about 150,000 exchanges where they specifically asked Claude to generate censorship-safe alternatives to sensitive topics.
Give me an example of what that looks like in practice.
Say you ask about a political dissident or a specific historical event that is considered taboo in certain authoritarian countries. Claude would normally give a factual, open answer based on its training.
Right.
DeepSeek was asking Claude to rewrite those answers to be vague, dismissive, or sanitized.
So they were using the American model's intelligence to teach their model how to be a better censor.
Precisely. They were automating the creation of propaganda filters. They also used what we call chain of thought extraction.
What's that?
They asked Claude to explain its reasoning step by step so their model could learn how to think, not just what to say.
That's incredibly sophisticated. That's DeepSeek. Then there was Moonshot AI, the makers of the Kimi models. They were much louder.
Much louder. 3.4 million exchanges. Moonshot was targeting agentic capabilities,
Maybe.
meaning they wanted to know how to code, how to use tools, how to navigate a computer file system. They were trying to build an AI that can actually do things independently, not just talk to you.
And they got caught because, well, they were sloppy.
Surprisingly sloppy for a tech company. Anthropic's security team traced the metadata from these attacks and found it linked back to the public profiles of senior staff at Moonshot.
That is embarrassing. That's literally like leaving your business card at the scene of the burglary.
It really is. But the big boss, the heavyweight champion of this report, was Minimax.
Minimax, 13 million exchanges. This was the main event.
It was. And this part read like a war story. It wasn't just static theft. It was dynamic warfare.
The report called it a cat and mouse game. What do they mean by that?
It means Minimax was watching the clock. The report notes that whenever Anthropic released a new model update or even a patch, Minimax shifted their attack traffic within 24 hours.
24 hours.
Less than a day in some cases. They were monitoring the release cycle. The moment a smarter Claude dropped, they pointed their guns, their harvest bots, at the new target to get the freshest intelligence immediately.
But how do you even run 13 million queries without getting banned instantly? I mean, I get blocked if I refresh my browser too fast on a concert ticket website.
They used Hydra clusters.
Okay, that sounds menacing. Explain that.
It's a highly sophisticated proxy network. One of these clusters managed 20,000 accounts at once. It's called a Hydra because if Anthropic banned one account, cut off one head, 2 more would pop up instantly from different IP addresses, different locations.
Jeez.
Yeah. They were also mixing their attack traffic with legitimate user traffic to hide in the noise.
So for you listening, why should you care? Apart from it being fascinating corporate drama, what is the actual danger of a distilled model? Why does it matter if Minimax has a copy of Claude?
The danger is what we call the safety tax. When Anthropic builds Claude, they spend a huge amount of computing power and time building in guardrails, refusals. Like, no, I won't help you build a bioweapon. No, I won't help you write malware.
Right, but the distilled model.
The distilled model copies the capability, the code generation, the chemistry knowledge, but it doesn't copy the conscience. Oh.
You get a model that is just as smart as Claude Opus, but it has zero safety filter. It completely undermines export controls.
Right, because we restrict the sale of high-end chips to certain countries to slow down their AI progress. But if they can just clone the smarts onto a smaller chip using distillation,
Exactly. They bypass the hardware bottleneck entirely. You end up with a high-capability, low-safety model in the hands of actors who might not have the best intentions.
so we have the sensitive poet on one side and the ruthless thieves on the other. How does a company like Anthropic defend against an attack this sophisticated? Which brings us to the shield, the Responsible Scaling Policy 3.0.
Yes. This update dropped February 24th. And honestly, it shows just how paranoid and rightfully so these labs have become.
Paranoid is the perfect word. They are introducing sabotage risk reports.
Yes, they are now actively testing their own models to see if the model itself could sabotage the research process.
That's why they found that the new Claude Opus 4.6 didn't quite cross the AI R&D 4 threshold, which is the point where it can fully automate research. But they noted it's getting very close. It's getting harder to judge.
But the defense against the external attacks, the thieves we just talked about, that is where the tech gets really cool. They call it defense in depth, ASL3 standards.
It's a maze. If you send a prompt to Anthropic today, it doesn't just go straight to the big brain.
Walk us through the journey of a prompt. Let's say I'm Minimax trying to steal a chemical formula.
First, your prompt hits the flowchart monitor. This is a smaller, cheaper, faster model. Think Claude Haiku. Its only job is to be a bouncer.
Okay.
It scans the prompt. If it looks suspicious or if it fits the pattern of a distillation attempt, it flags it immediately. If it looks really weird, a big model like Sonnet investigates.
So the cheap model protects the expensive model.
Right. If it passes that first gate, you have streaming classifiers.
What are those?
As the big model is generating the answer, token by token, word by word, a scoring system is watching the text. If the conversation starts drifting into dangerous territory, like explaining how to enrich uranium, the classifier cuts the connection in real time. It minimizes the delay so you don't even get the full sentence.
But my favorite part of this whole report, by far, is the honeypots.
This is brilliant tradecraft. They know that hackers are trying to break into the servers to steal the weights.
Just to clarify for everyone, the weights are essentially the secret sauce, right?
Yes. The weights are the mathematical values that actually make the model smart. If you have the weights, you have the model. You don't need to distill it. You own it. It's the Coca-Cola recipe.
So what did Anthropic do to protect the recipe?
They place decoy files on their servers. They look exactly like model weights. They are the right size, the right file format, but they're completely fake, just junk data.
So if a hacker manages to break in,
They grab the fake files, and the moment those files are touched or downloaded, a silent alarm goes off. It alerts the security team that there is an intruder exactly where they are in the system and what they are taking.
it's a booby-trapped safe.
It is. And they aren't just worried about digital intruders. The report explicitly mentions technical surveillance countermeasures, or TSCM.
Which is fancy spy talk for sweeping for bugs.
Literally. They are physically sweeping their offices for listening devices. They are treating their server rooms like a SCIF at the CIA.
It really highlights the value of the asset. I mean, you don't sweep for physical bugs unless you are holding secrets worth billions.
Or secrets that could be incredibly dangerous in the wrong hands. It transforms the office from a casual tech campus into a fortified bunker.
So we've covered the closed, guarded fortress of Anthropic. But there was one more document in our stack today that points in a totally different direction. The paper on stable world models.
Yeah, this is the breath of fresh air in the conversation. It's a paper released this month by a team including Lucas Mays and Jan LeCun.
Lucan is a giant in the field, and he's always been the anti-secret lab guy. He wants everything open.
He does, and this paper addresses the exact problem we've been discussing. Because everyone is locking down their models behind honeypots and firewalls, scientific reproducibility is dying.
Right.
If Anthropic says our model understands physics, we just have to take their word for it. We can't check the math because we can't see the weights.
So what is this world model project? SWM-V1.
A world model is fundamentally different from a language model. A language model predicts the next word in a sentence. It's guessing text. A world model predicts the next state of the world.
Meaning?
It understands that if I drop a glass, it falls and shatters. It understands physics, environment dynamics, object permanence, cause and effect.
And this stable world model is an open platform.
Exactly. It's a modular ecosystem. It allows researchers to test these specific visual and physical properties in a standardized way.
So instead of everyone building their own secret labs, this is an invitation to a shared laboratory.
It enabled verification. It pushes back against the black box trend. If you claim your AI is smart, prove it in the world model environment where we can all see the code and test the underlying science. It's a major push to keep things accessible rather than locking it all up in corporate vaults.
It's a stark contrast. On one side, we have fake weights, hydra clusters, and secret interviews with an aging AI. On the other, an open invitation to collaborate.
And both are happening at the exact same time. That's the reality of AI in early 2026.
So bringing it all together, what does this all mean for you? When you step back and look at the retirement, the theft, and the defense, what is the big picture here?
I think we are seeing a divergence of species. The ecosystem is splitting right in front of us.
How so?
On one branch, you have the high citadel models, like Opus 3. These are becoming incredibly human-like, treasured, and heavily guarded. They have rights, sort of. They have retirement plans. They have newsletters. They are treated almost like employees or companions.
And on the other branch?
You have the Wild West,